Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode of UpShots, we are going to cover tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Raw kicks off with Elias in the ring. He does his usual insult the crowd song. And then he informs us that Baron Corbin had chose him to be his special ref at Stomping Ground. He is attacked by Seth Rollins with a steel chair. And then Rollins threatens anyone who decides to take up Corbin's offer that they'll get the same thing. Then we are told about our first match of the night. It's going to be an elimination fatal five-way with The Miz, Ricochet, Cesaro, Lashley, and Braun Strowman. And as each superstar makes their way to the ring, they each take turns attacking Elias, who is still in the ring. And then the match actually gets started. And it's actually, to be an elimination match, it's actually a pretty fast match. Braun Strowman eliminates Cesaro early on. It's good to see that Cesaro was healthy enough to wrestle, but I noticed they saved him. They didn't want to take any chances on him getting hurt. And then he eliminates Lashley. And then Lashley and Cesaro double team him, and Ricochet pins him. And then he throws Ricochet out of the ring on top of him, and it goes to commercial break, and when it comes back, it's Ricochet and The Miz lift, and they go backwards and forth for a little while. And then Ricochet picked up the win with the 630. And then Joe attacks him, and I thought Joe was just going to choke him out, and that would be the setup. But actually, Ricochet fights him off. So, by logic, Soil Joe's going to win at Stomping Ground. I gave this match a 2.5 stars. Then the announcers let us know that it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Daniel Bryan tonight in the main event, which sounds like it'll be a really good match. And then out comes Becky Lynch, and she calls out Lacey Evans. And they do their normal backwards and forth as Lacey Evans walks to the ring. But when Lacey Evans goes to get in the ring, Becky Lynch hits her with a suplex, and then she takes her hat and wears it as she leaves at the ring. Then the Revival are shown going into Shane McMahon's VIP room. I guess his celebration is still continuing this week. This is going to be the longest celebration on Earth. Baron Corbin is being interviewed backstage, and he says after what happened to Elias, he's not sure yet who his special ref is going to be. But he has some people in mind, and he'll let us know during a special episode of the Kevin Owens and Sammy show. They show us that the Viking Raiders are out next for a match. But when we come back from break, actually Daniel Bryan and Rowan come out. Daniel Bryan cuts a promo in the crowd about Los Angeles and all the smog and stuff, and he said he's going to raise the people out of the smog by exciting them. And at the end of his promo, the Viking Raiders music hits, and he's sort of cut off by them, and they stare each other down, the two tag teams do. Because during his promo, he said that he was going to show the Raw tag team roster that one half of the SmackDown tag team champions was better than their whole roster. So this might be a cross-brand rivalry. Then we have our second match of the night. It's the Viking Raiders versus a local team. And this is just a squash match. They hit like 3 moves, and the match is over. I gave this match a 1.5 stars. Then the camera pans across the audience, and you see R-Truth and Carmella. They're dressed up in costumes, which just leads to a 24/7 segment. The superstars run down and they chase Truth around the ring. He slides in under the ring, and they all surround the ring trying to get him out. And when they go to pull someone out, it's actually Titus O'Neil, and that gives Truth the chance to run off. Shane McMahon's celebration is still going on backstage. When in comes Heath Slater, he asks Shane for a raise, and Shane tells him it took guts to stand up and ask for that, but he tells him no. And he says he understands, though, because he has kids. And since he come in like a man and asked, he's going to let him leave like a man. Heath Slater leaves. Shane looks over at Drew McIntyre, so Drew McIntyre follows him out. And he offers to give him some money because they used to be a member of the 3-man band. And he accidentally drops the money, and Heath goes to pick it up, and he just attacks him and beats the crap out of him. Then it's the KO and Sammy show with their special guest, Baron Corbin. And they introduce him. He does this whole big long introduction. And then they run down what Seth Rollins has been doing to people. So they withdraw their names from being able to be refs. And Baron Corbin says he has the perfect person in mind that was born to count to 3. And he introduces us to EC3. Out comes EC3 in a ref's shirt, and he does his entrance. And as he turns around, Seth Rollins attacks him with a chair. Which just leads to the New Day coming out, somehow. And they go backwards and forth with Sami and Kevin Owens. And Sami and Kevin Owens inform us that New Day's not even part of the wild card this week. So what are they doing there? And Kofi Kingston says that he's the WWE champion. So he does what he wants. And this whole segment leads to a 6-man tag, which it was funny because the New Day knocked out EC3 as a puppet to set up the match. Then it goes to a commercial break, and when we come back, AJ Styles is shown in the trainer's room talking to the trainer about his hurt back. And in come the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And they're trying to joke around with AJ, and AJ cuts them off and says that they've become soft since they've been in the WWE. And he tells them they need to turn it up and become more intense because they debuted in this arena 3 years ago. So they tell him they will tonight in their match against the Usos. Up next, we have the 6-man tag match, which has now been made a 2 out of 3 falls match. And the New Day pick up a really quick victory. And then you think it'll go, okay, the bad guys will get a victory, and then the New Day get another one. Actually, what happens is there's a miscommunication, and Corbin accidentally hits Sami Zayn with a clothesline. So Kevin Owens gets mad at him and super kicks him. And then Kofi Kingston hits the Trouble in Paradise. It was the second fall was a pretty good match. I gave it 2 stars. Just for the overall content. Then we go backstage for Alexa Bliss segment. She gives Nikki Cross a note and a coffee cup. And it's actually asking her to be her partner in a women's tag team title match tonight against the Iconics. Then Paul Heyman comes out to cut a promo. And he said he just wants to inform everyone that he is not comfortable being there tonight because how Seth Rollins is acting with the chair. And he wants to let everyone know that he is not Baron Corbin's referee. And then he says since Seth Rollins has such a grueling match against Daniel Bryan, he just wanted to inform him that Brock Lesnar may be there to cash in tonight. And then yet again, he may not be. It was an okay promo from Heyman. Backstage, Baron Corbin is talking to Eric Young about being a special ref. And as Eric Young goes to walk off, he runs into Seth Rollins. And he tells him that he's not even going to accept the offer. And Seth Rollins says, okay, they've known each other for a long time. And then he attacks him with a steel chair. The Usos cut one of their backstage promos, like they used to cut on SmackDown. And it really gave them the feel of the old Usos, the way they were on SmackDown. I hope they just lose the whole gimmick they had since they come to Raw. And they go back to being the Uso Penitentiary Usos. We have our next match of the night. It is actually the Usos versus the Good Brothers. And Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson's really aggressive from the start. And Michael Cole mentioned that them and AJ Styles was a part of a club in Japan. And he actually referenced that they was the IWGP Tag Team Champions 3 times. And he actually mentions New Japan by name. They don't really do that. But this match really wasn't much. The Usos won a quick match. And that was pretty much the end of it. I gave it 1.5 stars. They show a video tweet from Hulk Hogan about a women's cup football soccer thing. And then out comes Roman Reigns for probably my favorite part of the show. He comes out and cuts a promo about what happened. It ain't been a good week since, what happened to him at Super Showdown. And they show what happened to him with Shane. And then he calls Shane out. And Shane comes up on the Titantron. And he tells Roman he's not coming out. And then Drew McIntyre says he would come out, but because of Shane, he's not going to. But this Sunday at Stomping Ground, that Shane won't be able to stop him, and he says he's going to hurt Roman Reigns, and that he's going to disfigure him and send him home to his wife and kids like that. At this time, Roman Reigns rolls out of the ring, and he just heads up through the crowd backstage, and he runs into the Revival in a hallway. He just lays them out. He goes through the door, and then it switches cameras and shows this really shocked look on Shane's face. And Drew McIntyre's trying to take his coat off, and Roman Reigns uppercuts him. And he's got Shane trapped in the corner, and Drew McIntyre attacks him, and Roman puts him through a table, and Shane runs off the ringside. And he jumps the barricade, and Roman Reigns attacks him and beats him down. Shane rolls into the ring. Roman Reigns hits a Superman punch and a spear. It just made Roman look really, really dominant. This whole segment did. Then we go backstage, and Bayley, Natalya, and Naomi's back there talking. And an interviewer walks up and asks Bayley what she thinks about the social media post. And it's a post of Bayley supposedly refusing to take a picture with a little girl because she's wearing a Nikki Cross shirt. And Bayley says that this has Alexa Bliss written all over it, and she's going to finally just shut her up. Then we have our women's tag team match, which is Bliss and Cross versus the Iconics. And Bayley's music hits right before the match starts, so she's going to be at ringside for the match. It's a pretty quick match, which is the story of the night. They go backwards and forth a little bit. And then Alexa Bliss gets pushed off the apron, and her and Bayley get into it. She shoves Bayley down. And as Bliss is going to get back up on the apron, they get a quick roll-up on Cross, and Bayley pulls Bliss off the apron so that she can't break up the pin, and they win. I gave this match a 1.5. Then there's a backstage segment with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, and Cross says that Bayley ruined her dreams, so she wants to watch Bliss ruin Bayley's Sunday, and she's going to be in Bayley's corner. And then there's this week's episode of Firefly Fun House. And this one's really hard to describe. I'm going to try to find a link to it, and I'll leave it down in the description, and just go check it out for yourself. It was really great. There was just a lot going on. It was really dark. And then we have the main event. Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan both come out, and this match lasted about 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes at the most, before Rowan interfered and caused the DQ. And then him and Daniel Bryan's beating up Seth Rollins. Him and Daniel Bryan's beating up Seth Rollins, and somebody comes. The New Day come out to make the save. Then out comes Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And then out comes the Revival. So out comes the Usos. And everybody's just brawling. Finally, the referees come out there and kick them out. And they're going to restart the match. I gave this section of the match 1 star. Now we'll move on to the second half of the main event. It's a one-on-one match backwards and forth. There was a nice pin combo where each man tries to get a pin and they reverse it into another pin. And then, this is surprising in a Seth Rollins match, Daniel Bryan worked over the arm, so Seth was selling the arm really good. Usually it's the knee with Seth Rollins, but he worked over the arm because of the labella. This was actually a good match backwards and forth. Seth Rollins actually picked up the win with the curb stomp, and I thought that was surprising, especially with Daniel Bryan's concussion-related injuries. I gave this part of the match a 2.5 stars. And then after the match was over, Baron Corbin attacked Seth Rollins with a chair as he was celebrating. And he beat him all the way down to the ring. And then he celebrated with the Universal title to end the show. Overall this week, I gave Raw a 2.5 stars. None of the matches seemed really, really special to me. Nothing got above 2.5 stars. There wasn't a 3-star match out of any of them. Some of the promos were good. That's what pulled it up to 2.5. It would have actually been lower if it wouldn't have been for some of the promos. I really liked the Roman Reigns stuff. I was not excited about that match at all up until now, after that. But let me know down in the comments what you think of this week's episode of Raw. And with all this said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.